behind me, Toledo is seeing the first snowfall of the season. Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers has more as a weather day impact alert day has been issued for tonight. Now, Chris, how will it impact travel out the door Monday morning?
Yeah, Chase, that's when things are going to get very tricky because we're going to go plunging well below freezing and we're going to be back into the mid to upper 20s. Add to that, more snow is going to be falling, so that weather impact alert day will continue. Now, in the big scheme of things, I'm going to put this at about a level 2 out of 5, our taste of winter that we woke up to this morning. The season's first snowfall will continue tonight. We've got some bands of snow, lake effect snow that is coming off of the Great Lakes. Mainly going to focus now I-75 and east is going to be the greatest impact of additional accumulating snow. And I could zoom in a little bit closer over toward Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca County. We're starting to get that more hefty transition to snow that will be a sticking snow. We're right at the critical freezing mark. Some areas now beginning to fall below freezing, which means it is going to turn icy and slippery tonight. Now, depending on where you are, should be an inch or less of snow west of I-75, where you got the heavier totals earlier today. East of Toledo could be 1 to 2 inches with a few bursts of heavier snow that may try to develop overnight tonight. We'll carry that alert day into Monday. Highs barely make it above freezing, and then we'll dig out of the deep freeze, 40s and 50s as we go through the middle of the upcoming work week. I'll have more in my hour-by-hour forecast and highlight that snowfall projection map. That will be coming up. Chase, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Williams County is still under a level 1 snow emergency. Roadways are hazardous with blowing and drifting snow, and roads may also be icy. If you're driving in Williams County, officials are asking you to drive very cautiously. And we're tracking news of a house fire in Sylvania Township tonight. According to fire officials on scene, crews were dispatched to Ramblehurst Road shortly after 2 p.m., where they found a deep-seated fire concentrated in the crawl space and basement of a house. The fire eventually spread throughout the home. Firefighters say the location of the fire, plus the cold conditions and heavy amount of smoke, made putting out this fire especially difficult. Thankfully, no one was at home when the time of the incident happened, and no injuries are being reported. The cause of this fire is currently unknown, but an investigation is underway. Well, switching gears, Fostoria is turning empty parking lots into homes for working families. Dominique O'Neill joins us now with a story on a program making homeownership more achievable. Dom?
Well, Chase, the Welcome Home Ohio program is helping communities grow and giving families a chance at owning a home. The Seneca County Land Bank secured $2.75 million in grants, bringing 5 brand new homes to Fostoria and 4 more to Tiffin. Each house is fully equipped and priced under $108,000 for buyers, making up to 80% of the area's median income. Applications for the Fostoria homes are now open through November 14th, and by 2026, the county expects 9 new homes in both areas.
This is workforce housing. That's how we're doing it in Seneca County, just to really help our entry-level workforce people have homes so that they can live and work in our community.
Coming up tonight at 11, we have more on what these homes will look like and the impact on the community. Reporting in studio, Dominique O'Neill, WTOL 11.
All right, Dom, thanks. Congratulations are in order this evening. Maumee Bay Brewing Company is celebrating 3 decades in business. They celebrated their 30th anniversary with live music, beers, food, and tours of the buildings. Owner Patricia Appold says she's thankful to everyone who's made it possible over the last 30 years.
Brought to my mind how many people have contributed to this day and this enterprise. You know, it's a little bit of everybody.
The celebration continues tonight until 10 in both the Oliver House and the warehouse next door. Well, people in Michigan got some new ink this weekend at the Michigan Tattoo Convention in Monroe. The 3rd annual convention brought together local artists from places like Monroe and Ohio, and even people from as far away as Utah. Other than, of course, getting a tattoo, guests could shop from vendors and enjoy other entertainment like the Sinister Room.
That's kind of what's fun about this, is you might walk into it with one idea and you leave with 6 other tattoos, and it really needed the community support, it needed the vendor support, and more importantly, it needed really good tattoo artists. And I'm more honored than anything that we were able to bring those aspects together.
The last day of the convention runs until 8 tonight, and some artists went home with trophies for Best Tattoo. Well, it is day 40 of the government shutdown, and while senators are at work on Capitol Hill, they still don't seem much closer to resolving the impasse. Without government funding, millions of SNAP recipients are in limbo, and air travelers are starting to see some disruptions. Willie James Inman reports from the White House.
Senators returned to Capitol Hill for a rare Sunday session aimed at ending the ongoing government shutdown. As they worked through the weekend, the two parties still appeared far apart on a deal to end the stalemate, with Democrats pushing for a one-year extension of health care tax credits, and Republicans arguing Democrats must first vote on a funding measure before they'll discuss the issue.
The Democrat leader's proposal is a non-starter for the Republican majority.
Doing nothing is derelict because people will go bankrupt, people will lose insurance, people will get sicker.
The shutdown continues to impact more than 40 million Americans who rely on SNAP food assistance. While there's legal debate over keeping the program funded, benefits remain in jeopardy.
I don't know how long the shutdown's going to last, and if we don't get SNAP until the shutdown's over, we could end up literally starving.
Air travelers are also feeling the shutdown's impact. The FAA has imposed flight restrictions on 40 U.S. airports to relieve some of the pressure on air traffic controllers. Since cuts began on Friday, more than 1,000 flights have been canceled each day.
So I'm just rolling with the punches. I'm never in a hurry, but hopefully things get back on track soon so everybody can get the business time taken care of.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned on Fox News Sunday travel disruptions could get worse.
As I look 2 weeks out, as we get closer to Thanksgiving travel, listen, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have air travel slow to a trickle. As everyone wants to travel to see their families, I think we're going to see air traffic controllers, very few of them coming to work.
Multiple airlines are offering ticketed travelers rebooking and refund options because of the shutdown. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
And passengers at airports across the country are dealing with mass flight delays and cancellations. The government shut down. Millions of federal workers are not getting paid. TSA agents and air traffic controllers are still expected to come to work, but many are calling out because they can't afford to come in or the need for childcare. The sick calls are causing staffing shortages at airports and aviation support facilities across the country. And without enough staff, they cannot operate safely.
I have more complaints coming into the FAA from pilots who are saying that air traffic controllers are not as responsive.
The FAA says it will gradually reduce air traffic by up to 10% by November 14th at 40 major airports. The decision could cut thousands of flights a day. The weather's also playing a factor. Parts of the Midwest and northern New England are seeing snow or heavy rain right now. All of this coming right before Thanksgiving. As of earlier this afternoon, more than 7,000 flights were delayed across the country and more than 2,000 were canceled. That's according to FlightAware. Well, millions of people who rely on food aid are now stuck in uncertainty as the U.S. Department of Agriculture is now telling states to stop full food stamp benefits. The agency's new directive issued Saturday warns of serious consequences for states that ignore it. States were also told to immediately undo steps taken to issue full benefits for the month of November. A Supreme Court order late Friday paused a lower court's mandate for full SNAP payments. Well, still to come, it's the most wonderful time of the year to do your holiday shopping. We'll take a look at projected prices for your presents across the nation.
And maybe the snow's put you in the mood for some of that holiday shopping. Still the continued snow risk, especially east of I-75 back into the Toledo metro. How much additional snow will fall? I'll break that down in my hour-by-hour forecast coming up next. Great to have you along on this Sunday evening, our weather impact alert day. And were you surprised by the snow this morning? We told you about it several days ago that you'd wake up to it. And look at this. It continues across the area. Widespread snow. And we're not quite done with it yet. I still think some heavier bursts of snow going to be ahead. And it's going to be a very rare situation that's going to be unfolding. This has been such an impressive early season winter type of system. Lake effect snow. Now, typically we don't think about that for Northwest Ohio because the wind flow isn't quite right. But this is going to be a very unique, unusual pattern with a northeast wind coming off of Lake Huron right down over Lake St. Clair that is going to bring some bands of lake effect snow here into Northwest Ohio. And speaking of it, it is the season for it. It is just really hammering snow right now across South Bend over northern Indiana. Perhaps if you had any travel tonight down the Indiana Toll Road, heads up to this. They could get a foot or more of snow out toward South Bend. Now we had several inches of snow, 2-3 inches of snow out there west of Toledo, up into Hillsdale County earlier this morning. You woke up to a winter wonderland. Now it's been quite some time. It's been a rain-snow mix much of the day east of I-75, now making that transition that we're after dark to snow, and it will begin to accumulate for our areas east of Toledo. A little bit more sensitive version on Doppler radar. There's some of the steadier snow bands still lingering in the Toledo metro, now beginning to pick up east of I-75 as we drop back below freezing, and this is critical. We're right at that 32-degree mark. We're going to fall back into the 20s tonight, mid to upper 20s, and anything that's out there is going to freeze and become very icy and slippery. So heads up to a very slow and icy start to the morning into our Monday. We'll look over downtown Toledo, a little bit of light snow, and again, any roadways that are wet could refreeze tonight with a very slippery and slow start to Monday morning. So temperatures will plunge tonight. More snow is going to be likely, and an icy and slippery Monday is going to be unfolding. Most of the snow showers will wrap up early Monday morning. We're actually going to see some sunshine return, but a very cold-looking day Monday. It'll feel a whole lot like winter as we go through Monday. Hour-by-hour forecast. Here's some of those steadier snow showers, a couple scattered snow squalls, which are heavier bursts of snow. Now, I mentioned the lake effect snow. Here it is, that band of snow coming right off of Lake Erie. This is very unusual, but where we get this band, it could bring a quick inch of snow, most likely I-75 and east. That's where we're going to see our better chance of snow as we go into our Monday morning. How much additional snow, where we get that lake effect snow band inland from the lake, 1 to 2 inches of snow will be possible. West of I-75, where you already had a decent amount of snow, it may be an additional inch. So generally speaking, most areas around an inch. Areas east of I-75, 1 to 2 inches of additional snow tonight. Weather impact alert day continues into Monday. Some snow into the morning hours. It is going to be a cold, breezy day. 37 the high on Tuesday for Veterans Day, 46 Wednesday, 51 as we get into Thursday, and back into the 50s for Friday and Saturday, and could see a high toward 60 degrees as we get toward the end of the weekend on Sunday, with rain chances back late in the weekend. Let's look at your 10-day forecast. Chase, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. The magic of Christmas has returned to Radio City Music Hall in New York City, with the holidays right around the corner. As the Christmas Spectacular starring the Radio City Rockettes has opened for its holiday run. And 2 dancers from Mahoning Valley, Ohio, are performing in one of the holiday season's most iconic shows. Dancers Nicole Zides and Sitha Nalapanene are back in the iconic kick line for their 2nd season and the Rockettes' 100th anniversary year.
It's super cool to see how much it's evolved, and like we've kept the same tradition and precision that there's always been, but I feel like every single year they find a way to just take it up a notch.
And with many Americans expressing concern during the government shutdown, the National Retail Federation still expects record spending. Allie Bauman has more from New York.
Allison Talaka-Shalal is shopping for stocking stuffers at the Bank of America Winter Village at Bryant Park, while still saving for the big-ticket items on her daughter's holiday wish list.
Everything is definitely a lot more expensive, like a MacBook and the electronics and the things that kids use.
That pessimism is apparently widespread. A new survey by the University of Michigan finds consumer sentiment about personal finances and the economy is nearing record lows. Many Americans expressing worry about the federal government shutdown and how that could impact their bottom line.
This year is definitely going to be on a budget.
But the National Retail Federation predicts that won't stop Americans from spending this holiday season. The group anticipates more than $1 trillion in total sales. Each person expected to spend an average of $890 on gifts, food, and decor, the second highest amount in 23 years of tracking.
Wages continue to outpace inflation. So the last 30 months, we've had wage growth faster than the rate of inflation. So even though they're not feeling great about things, they continue to spend.
But for many, including Tina Lewis, that spending is more cautious.
Quality over quantity, just because prices are increasing so significantly everywhere. So I always find a sale.
We've seen dollar stores say they're seeing record numbers of higher income households shop with them.
All right, when we return, the Browns took on the Jets this afternoon. We recap that game. Plus, 2 Cleveland Guardians players have been indicted on bribery charges. We have the details. And the Toledo women's basketball team had their first game at Savage this season. We recap that game and more coming up next in sports. Sports brought to you by Jim White Honda. Welcome back. It's another NFL Sunday, but this one feels a lot more like Christmas. We got some snow on the ground here in Ohio, but for the Browns who are in New York, they got to play in the rain. The Browns and the Jets are a combined 3-13 coming into today's game. Cleveland was hoping to get back in the win column after losing at New England 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately the Browns couldn't get it done. They fall to the Jets 27-20. Cleveland's record falls to 2-7 on the season. They will head back to Cleveland for next week's game versus their division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. And some baseball news that broke this afternoon. Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz are charged with fraud, conspiracy, and bribery. Prosecutors say this comes from an alleged scheme to rig pitches in order for gamblers to win hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ortiz was arrested in Boston today. Clase is not yet in custody. The two face federal charges that could result in up to 65 years in federal prison if convicted. And in college basketball, the Toledo women had their home opener for the 2025-26 season, taking on Gonzaga in a nationally televised game. Early going in the game, the Rockets in transition here. Kendall Carruthers pulls up, shot is short, but Faith fed Robinson right there underneath for the rebound and put back first field goal of the game. Later, Toledo moving it around, going inside to Miriam Diala, quickly off the glass for another Rockets score. Finally, Carruthers with the ball again, driving inside, going to get around a defender. Nifty pass here by the Springfield Blue Devil to Diala for the layup. This was a hard-fought game by Toledo, but they would end up falling to Gonzaga 72-69. The Rockets will be back home in a week to host Detroit Mercy. And also happening this afternoon, the Bowling Green men were in action taking on Lemoyne. The Falcons jumped out to a 2-0 start to the season, hoping to make it 3-0. BG only led Lemoyne 37-36 at the half, but ended up pulling away in the second half to win 83-60. The Falcons are now 3-0 to start the season, and the team will be back in action next Saturday when they travel to North Carolina to play Davidson. And finally, the Lions are back in action right now over in Washington, taking on the Commanders. I'll have more on that game coming up tonight at 11. But until then, that's all for sports. Welcome back in. 36 years ago, on November 9th, 1989, East Germany opened its borders, allowing East and West German citizens to travel freely between the two countries. According to the new laws, East Germans no longer required special permission from the state for private journeys or emigration. Permanent emigration between East and West Germany was also to be allowed at all border crossing points. Soon after the announcement, thousands of East and West Germans celebrated at the Berlin Wall along the symbol of the two countries' divisions. Meanwhile, East Berliners crossed over to West Germany by simply showing their ID cards to the sentries. And if you're feeling hungry, today is National Fried Chicken Sandwich Day. It is believed the tasty holiday started back in the 1930s, and since then, people haven't been able to get enough. Multiple fast food chains will celebrate the day with special deals and discounts. Of course, Chick-fil-A is sitting this one out since the chain is closed on Sundays. Most people like their sandwich plain without any toppings, but you can add whatever you want to it, including barbecue sauce, hot sauce, ranch dressing, honey mustard, cheese, and more. So, Chris, I'll ask you, how do you like your fried chicken sandwich?
I like it with a little spice on it.
Okay.
You do like pepper jack cheese.
Nice.
Or maybe like a sriracha mayo.
Nice, I like it.
I've tried that with the Nashville hot chicken.
Yes.
spicy.
Yes, it is. I've had a few Nashville hot chicken sandwiches in my day. They are hot.
You need to be prepared for that.
And I'm not someone with a huge heat tolerance too, so it's got to be like at a certain. It can't be too hot, right in the mild medium range.
Some people could have used a little extra heat today when they woke up to the snow this morning. How about that? Let's take a look at what we've got in the next 10 days. An alert day for tomorrow. It's that weather impact alert day. We told you about this on Wednesday, preparing you for what would be expected today. Really unfolded as we anticipated. More snow tonight into tomorrow morning. And Chase, even a little rare lake effect or lake enhanced snow. Toledo and East.